The restaurant industry is facing unprecedented challenges in 2025, with several major chains struggling to stay afloat. Today, we're diving deep into the troubles facing 15 of America's most recognizable restaurant brands, examining why they're struggling and what this means for the future of dining out. Let's start with Ruby Tuesday, once a staple of American casual dining. The chain has been closing locations at an alarming rate, with over 40% of their restaurants shuttering in the past 3 years. The company's struggle began well before the pandemic, but recent inflation and changing consumer preferences have accelerated their decline. Their traditional American casual dining concept hasn't evolved with modern taste, and younger consumers are increasingly choosing fast casual alternatives or local establishments. Applebee's is another chain facing significant headwinds. Despite their attempts to rebrand and modernize, they've seen a steady decline in same-store sales. The chain has closed over 200 locations since 2020, and franchise owners are reporting increasing operational costs that are eating into already thin profit margins. Their attempts to appeal to younger demographics through social media campaigns and menu innovations haven't translated into sustained customer growth. IHOP, owned by Dine Brands Global alongside Applebee's, is experiencing similar troubles. The breakfast-focused chain has been hit hard by changing morning routines, with more people working from home and choosing to prepare breakfast themselves. Their expansion into lunch and dinner offerings hasn't gained the traction they hoped for, and they're struggling to maintain relevance in a market where brunch-focused local restaurants are thriving. Boston Market's situation is particularly dire. The chain has filed for bankruptcy protection for the second time in recent years, closing dozens of locations and leaving many wondering if this might be the end for the rotisserie chicken specialist. Their attempts to compete with both fast food and fast casual restaurants have left them in a difficult middle ground, unable to effectively capture either market. Red Lobster, once the undisputed king of casual seafood dining, is facing its own set of challenges. The chain has been hit hard by rising seafood costs and changing consumer preferences. Their all-you-can-eat promotions, once a major draw, are becoming increasingly unsustainable as food costs soar. The company has closed numerous locations and is struggling to maintain profitability in many markets. Pizza Hut's troubles reflect broader changes in the pizza delivery landscape. With the rise of third-party delivery services and local pizzerias adapting to digital ordering, the chain's traditional advantages have eroded. They've closed hundreds of dine-in locations, focusing instead on delivery and carry-out. But competition from Domino's and Papa John's continues to eat into their market share. Friendly's, the ice cream and restaurant chain, has seen its footprint shrink dramatically. From over 500 locations at its peak, they're now down to fewer than 150 restaurants. The chain's family dining concept has struggled to attract younger customers, and their attempts to modernize have been hampered by financial constraints and operational challenges. TGI Fridays has been closing locations across the country, with some markets seeing complete exits. The chain's casual dining concept, which thrived in the 1990s and early 2000s, has struggled to remain relevant in today's dining landscape. Their attempts to pivot to a more bar-focused concept haven't gained sufficient traction to offset declining food sales. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery has been quietly shrinking its footprint, with numerous locations closing in the past few years. The family dining chain has struggled to maintain relevance in a market where breakfast and brunch options have exploded. And their traditional American comfort food menu hasn't evolved enough to attract younger diners. Golden Corral, the buffet chain, has faced perhaps the most dramatic challenges. The buffet concept itself has become increasingly difficult to sustain with rising food costs and changing consumer preferences regarding food safety and quality. Many locations have closed permanently, and those that remain are struggling to adapt their business model. Steak and Shake has seen its troubles compound in recent years. The chain's attempt to maintain low prices while delivering quality has become increasingly difficult in the current economic environment. They've closed numerous locations and converted others to counter-service-only operations in an attempt to reduce labor costs. Denny's, while still maintaining a significant presence, has been closing underperforming locations and struggling to attract younger customers. Their 24-hour operation model has become increasingly challenging to maintain with labor shortages and changing late-night dining habits. O'Charley's has been quietly but steadily shrinking its footprint, with numerous locations closing across their operating territory. The casual dining chain has struggled to differentiate itself in a crowded market and has been particularly hard hit by rising food and labor costs. Hometown Buffet and Old Country Buffet, once popular family dining destinations, have seen their business model become increasingly unsustainable. The few remaining locations are struggling to maintain profitability as food costs rise and consumer preferences shift away from buffet-style dining. Chuck E. Cheese, while technically more of an entertainment center than a traditional restaurant, has been facing significant challenges. The chain's attempt to modernize its concept and appeal to today's families has been hampered by high operational costs and changing entertainment preferences. The troubles facing these chains reflect broader changes in the restaurant industry and American dining habits. Rising costs for food, labor, and real estate have made traditional casual dining models increasingly difficult to sustain. Meanwhile, changing consumer preferences, particularly among younger generations, have shifted toward more specialized, local, or fast casual options. The rise of ghost kitchens and delivery-only concepts has also disrupted the traditional restaurant model. These operations can operate with lower overhead costs and greater flexibility, putting additional pressure on traditional sit-down restaurants. Looking ahead, we're likely to see continued evolution in the restaurant industry. Some of these chains will likely survive through significant restructuring and adaptation of their business models. Others may disappear entirely or be absorbed by larger restaurant groups. The key to survival will be the ability to adapt to changing consumer preferences while maintaining operational efficiency in an increasingly challenging economic environment. For consumers, these changes mean fewer options in some markets, but potentially more innovative and specialized dining concepts emerging to fill the gaps. The future of dining out may look very different from what we've known in the past, but change has always been a constant in the restaurant industry. The question remains: which of these chains will successfully navigate these challenges and emerge stronger, and which will join the growing list of once popular restaurant brands that have disappeared from the American dining landscape? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the restaurant industry of tomorrow will look very different from the one we knew just a few years ago.